Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast. This is episode number 676, and it's called Zero Latency. And there is a reason for that, because I will be talking shortly about yesterday and our trip to Dublin. So we didn't deploy sauna yesterday. Because obviously we had a long drive to and back from Dublin, so there was no chance that we would make it and do neither the morning or the evening deploy. So sauna stayed in the driveway for the whole day yesterday, and we had to leave early because we had a couple of different appointments scheduled for yesterday. So we left Donegal town around 6:20 a.m. and we drove to Dublin. Obviously the road was smooth, there was really nothing to highlight. Along the way, we just stopped at one gas station to get some coffee, and we continued on. And we didn't go straight to Dublin. We went to Maynooth, which is kind of area that we lived before, about 2.5 years ago. Before we moved to Donegal town, we were living around Maynooth and Kilcock area. So we went there because we had appointment in a primary care center, and we have a doctor there that we really like and trust, and he's a very good doctor. So we keep going to him even though we are so far away, because it's very hard to get a decent GP these days, and he was the best so far and by far. So we decided to keep him as our GP. But the disadvantage is that we need to go that far if we need something from him. So that was the first appointment, and then the second appointment we had to drive to Dublin. We stayed there for a while. My wife kind of had the appointment there, and the plan was to leave her there so she can walk to another appointment within the same area, pretty much within the distance of about half a mile in city center. But she was not prepared for that, unfortunately, because we didn't take any gear to protect from the rain, and it was quite rainy. So Julian and myself, we decided to stay until she finishes the appointment and drive her to the other place, and then depart for our planned meeting or planned appointment or activity. And this activity was Zero Latency, as the title suggests. And Zero Latency is basically a franchise of company that I think originated in Japan, but it was in Dublin for a good couple of years, I think 2 or 3 years already, or more maybe. But they were in Sandyford, South Dublin. But I didn't realize that they opened the second place in North Dublin, in Swords, and specifically in Swords Shopping Centre, which is very familiar to us as well. And I booked there the activity, and activity is basically the VR experience, so virtual reality. There's a spacious arena, or the room, that is designed to facilitate people, up to 8 people, I believe. What you do is you wear VR glasses that are connected to the headset and also to the gun, and it's almost like a laser tag type of scenario, but this time you are in a virtual reality. So that gear detects if you're close to the wall or to the other person, and pauses the game to avoid any collisions and dangerous moments. And there's also a game master, a person that doesn't have VR glasses, that continuously watches the session of the game and makes sure that everyone's safe. But those of us that have and wear the glasses, we are basically unaware of the room and where everything is or everyone is, except for in game. So it was a very good experience. We decided to go for a Singularity game. It's about 30 minutes of scenario where you're part of the team that is deployed in some space station. You're like a space marine or similar, and you need to clear it up of some aliens or whatever, robots. It didn't matter too much about the plot. It was about the game itself and the experience. And the great part was that it wasn't like competition between us, but it was more about cooperation. So at the same time, it's like a public game, so we were booked with Julian, and there were 2 other girls booked at the same time. So we basically were joined together as a 4-player team, and as such we played the game. And it was a very good experience. I wasn't expecting it to be that nice, albeit during the game I did some weird movement that I unplugged my headphones from the VR set, so I lost the sound and I couldn't plug it in because obviously I had VR glasses on me. So I was playing for probably more than half of the game without sound, which was very annoying, as I couldn't depend on the hearing. So I only had visuals and the movement, so I needed to depend on that. So I was pretty much like a deaf person, while the other players, they could talk and they could hear the sounds and whatever explosions and everything around them. So it was a bit confusing because sometimes there were moments where they were fighting and I didn't know because I was turned the other way around and I was waiting for something, and then I realized that there was some flash, and then I saw that they are fighting, so I was helping them with delay. But interestingly, in the end, when they provided the scores, I turned out to be the number 1 player, not only in the session, but number 5 of all time in that venue, which was very surprising. Julian couldn't believe it. He was a bit kind of jealous in a good way. He was making fun of me that how could you make it without sound, and you were so good in this game. And I wasn't, I didn't realize that I went that far. I was just playing the game. I was trying to be precise and kill as many of those robots and weird creatures and help the guys. So I wasn't moving much. I was kneeling down a lot, hiding behind the obstacles, and counting the, making sure that I do the headshots to whatever had. So it was basically my tactics, and I died about 4 times, and it turns out that I died the least amount of times as well, even though I felt like I died the most. And when you die, you don't die for good, you just are eliminated for about 10 or 15 seconds and you can't shoot, so the rest of the team, they are dependent on each other. And then once that time passes, you respawn and you can keep playing. So I was losing time, I couldn't hear, and I felt like I would be the worst in the game, but it turned out to be the best, which was a nice surprise after all that annoyance. And we're definitely going back there. And because of being one of the top players, I also got the free session in exchange. So that's great because I got the free session for the performance, and also when you book 2 sessions you get 3rd session free. So basically the next time we go with Julian for free because I have 2 free sessions available, which is great. yeah, we will do that, definitely do that again. Zero Latency has multiple games and also virtual escape rooms, so plenty of stuff to do. Not everything is available for Julian because some of the games are 16 plus or 18 plus, but Singularity was good, and there's 2 or 3 more games that we can play together, so we'll definitely be coming back. So that was Zero Latency. And afterwards we drove to Blanchardstown Shopping Center. Elizabeth wanted to buy some stuff in Nike shop, while Julian fell asleep completely. He was like, I couldn't wake him up. He was sleeping on the seat. So I guess the early wake up and then the excitement, and you know, it was a bit of exhaustion because we were constantly walking and kind of being stimulated, also visually, and some of them in a audio way or audibly. So yeah, it was a bit tiring, even though we didn't realize that until he fell asleep. And I started nodding off when we were going back towards Donegal. We obviously ate our favorite taco chips in Kilcock before deploying on the final stretch to Donegal town. Along the way we had to stop at the gas station. I needed to take a bit of a breath, stretch, and another coffee because I felt like it's dangerous to drive. And later on it was much better, and we arrived safely in Donegal. So that's yesterday. Today I'm in Rosnalla, but about today I will be recording tomorrow. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your time every time you watch me, listen to me, or read the blog. Have a great rest of the day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Stay tuned and see you again.